I feel like sometimes that's a mistake with imports is that they just think about the statistics of it all. It's important because you do have to, do your job, but at the same time, you do have to be a part of the culture and the team.
Overseas players starting their career up, what pointers would you give to them?
I would tell them it's not as easy as you might think. When you're playing in the States, you have a ego as though we're better than them. So when you come go overseas, wherever it may be, your mindset can throw you off in the sense of like, I can just go out here, I can just score all the points, and I can just do those things. And I think the first game I played, I realized, like I said, I played very hard.
Welcome to this episode of 台篮吃瓜第一品牌. I'm your host, Brian Chen, joined by Taylor Chen. And today's special guest is Treveon Graham of the Taiwan Pilots. Trey, how's it going?
Doing good. Had a tough game today, but pulled it out. Continue to stay undefeated so far.
All right, so we're recording this on Sunday night. The Pilots have pulled off the victory and won 8 straight in a new venue. Trey, what can you tell us about moving from the cavernous Taiwan Arena to the much more intimate Banqiao Stadium?
Yeah, I enjoy the intimacy. The crowd just seems like louder in a sense because it's so intimate. And I love the other arena as well, but I do like the intimacy of this gym, and we're undefeated so far, so I can't get mad at that either.
The Pilots have started the season with breaking the record for wins to start the season. How do you feel like you guys are playing? Because from the outside, looking from the top-down view, you guys look unstoppable.
I'm not unstoppable, but we do play well together. I think the biggest thing we have going for us is we've been together for majority of us for 3 years. I've been here for 2.5, 3 years. Alex been here, and then for the most part, locals has been the same. So going through 3 seasons like that together, I think it just helps us where other teams are starting from the ground up.
I want to talk about the beginning of your season where you were actually out for a couple of months. Can you tell us about the injury that you had?
I had a sprain in my knee. Lucky that nothing was too torn to where I didn't have to get surgery or anything. So we just went with rehab, did a long rehab. They made sure that I was able to play, even games where I thought I could play. They, sat me out as long as they felt need to, and I had to, stay humble in the sense of just listening to them and making sure that I come back ready to play. Still, have the tape on the knee, making sure everything's good, and getting it stronger and stronger every day. But at least I'm able to go out there and help my team.
Yeah, I think it's our opportunity to ask you about some of your new teammates, right? Because you didn't start the season in official games along with the likes of number 5 Chen Jiang or Jonah Morrison or another import, Cedric Miller. Can you tell us about the new guys?
They're all good. I think that's the best thing about our team. We have a real loaded bench. So whoever's out or whoever's not having the best of games, we can always sub in, like you said, Jonah, Cedric if he's playing, and any of the other, local/imports that we have. I think that whatever way coach wants to go, we can kind of go and we play well. Like I said, I wasn't in, and they still won. I'm coming back. We're still winning. So it's games where some guys aren't playing as well as others, but we still managed to come out with the win. So I just think that's the biggest thing is coach makes sure that he brings in players that's always ready to play, and you can see that as the games go on.
You just mentioned Coach Yurgi, and he's also been with the team for some time. You've probably got a lot of memories or stories about Yurgi. Can you tell us one instance right now?
My first instance was I met him when I was in Brooklyn. He came when I was in Brooklyn just to watch me practice, not just me in general, but like just watch practice, and we kind of met each other there, which is why I think I made it all the way here with Taiwan with him. And I think just being with him, he's one of the most player-friendly coaches I have. I think he allows us to go out and play how we want to play offensively, and as long as we play defensively the best way we can, I think that's what helps us play so free. And like you said, anyone can go out and play because he gives us that freedom.
你每天手机滑不停哦，让眼睛放个假啦。如果跟我一样想找一台看起来舒服、用起来顺手的彩色阅读器，那就一定不能错过这一台7寸的 mooInk Nana。mooInk Nana 彩色电子书阅读器，色彩锐利饱和，看久了也不会刺眼。采用直线实体按键的设计，搭配4项翻转功能，不管是左手、右手、直读、横读。 都能够流利的操作。内建了7种色彩模式，根据阅读的喜好调整，超级方便的。还拥有强韧结构，还有大电量，随行阅读没有负担。想知道更多资讯吗？请参考资讯栏连结。
So that's probably the best thing I can say about Coach is how player friendly he is.
Oh, you don't have to name names, but can Yurgi outbench or outdo things in the weight room compared to the other guys still on the team?
I would say he does yoga very well.
More flexible.
Everybody needs to catch up.
He can do yoga. He does yoga a lot, so I think that's the one thing that he probably got over everyone is his yoga ability.
Now, what was his message to the team coming into camp? Because you guys have to balance your domestic schedule and the East Asia Super League, which the Pilots are mere percentages away from getting an advancement to the playoffs and maybe even a first round bye, I believe. So what was the message from him and the coaching staff coming into this one?
Knowing that we won last year, the championship, it was basically not throwing that away, but like just resetting and making it one game at a time. We know we have a team that can win, but we had to put in the work in the offseason to make sure that we, did all the things we want to do this year. We lost in the ESL in the championship, and that's something we really want to get this year. So again, game by game, just making sure that we do what we need to do, whether we win, whether we lose, going into the next day, knowing we have to put in the work to win the next game.
Your guys' participation in ASL and BCL has really magnified the talent overseas. So could you tell us a couple of points or benefits to competing in these international platforms?
I think the biggest thing for me is just to see the competition from all over. I'm able to play against Korean teams, Japanese teams, Chinese teams, and teams I normally wouldn't be able to play playing in Taiwan. So I'm able to also travel and see Asia for what it is. Like I said, I love Asia. I've been here for 3 years and I've got to see how amazing it can be. So I just think that the talent level across all of Asia, you can see it, and it also proves that how good Taiwan basketball is because we've been able to be one of the top teams going into each tournament. So just also putting Taiwan on the map as well.
You also mentioned that joining the Pilots has been a big blessing. What's it like to now get the chance to actually even expand beyond playing in one market and all the fun that it is to be a basketball player, but to enjoy all these other things, including travel, including cultures, including experiences?
I guess the biggest thing for me is to be able to show my kids and my wife around Asia as well. I try to bring them to as many places as they possibly can to take advantage of the fact that I am in Asia. And probably without this opportunity, they would never be able to see all the places that they've been to. My kids are able to, learn Mandarin and be able to, do the certain things that they can do by being here. And I really think it's a blessing for me to be able to do that for them. Outside of that, I just think that, like I said, I'm able to play and put my skill level against all the other countries that's here in Asia, and be able to see what I need to work on, how each country plays in a different light. And one thing I do think about Taiwan is how hard Asia plays. I think coming from America, we don't play as hard as dedicated as it is in Asia. They'll play very hard, and I think that's something I enjoy.
You talked about your family being here, so we see your sons running around on the court. So could you tell us what roles that your wife and your kids play as is anchoring you and keeping you in the game? How important they are to you
very
being
important.
here?
Yeah, very important. As I love it. My kids allow me to, if I have a bad game, seeing them, I can't stay too mad, too down, too often. And my wife, she's the anchor in everything. She makes sure I don't have to do too much off the court so I can play my best on the court. So without her, none of this really happens, because without that, I'm kind of doing way too much off the court, so I can't. So when you see me have a good game and go off, just know that she's the anchor behind all of that.
All right. Well, for our viewing audience, could you give them a shout out as to their name? So Pilots fans or all basketball fans, maybe they'd be interested in saying hello and giving them some encouragement for being out here.
Yes, hey honey, Melissa Graham, that's my wife. Tyus Graham. His birthday is actually today, turned 5.
Birthday.
So happy birthday, Tyus, and Tobias Graham, you know, the great big brother that he is.
There's a lot of hurdles raising a family overseas, obviously, being the language barrier or maybe dealing with cultural differences. I mean, what are some highlights of raising your kids overseas? They've been overseas for at least half of their life now.
Sure, and how do the pilots kind of support your family and other families coming into the marketplace?
Pilots, it was a surprise actually how much they taken in my kids. They love them when they can come to practice. Whenever we don't have such a hectic schedule for practice, they can come and, you know, be around the team. The team brings them in, and just like family, like they even, like I said, with the fans, they bring them gifts. They bring them things just because they see them around. So it's been a blessing just to be in this situation because I don't know other situations like this. I've been on other teams where it's not as, you know, friendly when it comes to the family, and you know they might not even let them come to 2 different countries when they're flying out. So just to be able to be on a program that they actually allow my family to feel a part of the actual, you know, the team in a way, it's, you know, is a real blessing.
You know, that's interesting because it makes me think the pilots are a team with not a ton of fathers on the squad. So are you encouraging the guys to maybe start thinking about settling down, or maybe what's it like with fatherhood?
No, they're too young. I think they should take their time and make sure they found the right woman to, you know, to settle down with. Like I said, I found mine, so, you know, I just think that's something they should do. But we do have, like I said, the imports for the most part. You know, they're either married or they're about to like have kids. So I think that's also a blessing. Again, with the wives able to come in and be a part of the team as well.
So when it's off season, what do you and the family look forward to doing most when you're back home?
Going home.
Just
going
go
to
home.
see family. I think that's the biggest, I guess, if I would say a downside is like I don't get to see my family as much. FaceTime, but that's not the same as actually being around them. Like I said, they have grandparents and aunts, cousins that they love, and they get to be home but for a short time if we come back and everything. So I just think that the biggest thing is to be around family, whatever that may look like. So that's something that I can't wait to, but you know, has its time. But right now, that's really the biggest thing we think about is just being home with our family.
All right. You know, it also is on your resume that you've not spent that much time overseas. The pilots are your destination.
Yep.
And including being a basketball player, even back home, you might not be around for family. So there's a lot of sacrifice in just not being home, not being around, or not having the flexibility. Mm-hmm. But in the end, you guys did clinch the Plus League title. You were around the team for the second season, but the other guys have kind of been grinding in the same league against the same opponents for many years. What was the joy or what was the relief in that championship moment in Game 7?
It was a real relief, one, because I knew the year before how much we really wanted it, and we lost to the Kings, it's a great team. I think they were just more mature than us. We had a real young team that year, and I think that helped us win the next year because we was able to understand what it took to win. But also for them, like I think for the Pilots itself, it's been a while since the championship's been won. So I think just for the team itself and the organization, I think that championship meant so much. And then it couldn't even be better if we can get this one this year. So I just think just building that legacy, building that camaraderie as a team, I think that's something that we just want to keep going for.
Can you recount early days of playing for the Pilots where there was a moment where you thought, this is it, this is home for you?
Yeah, I just think that like just how everyone brought me in as a teammate. I came in the middle of the year. I'm trying to figure everything out, whether it's plays, how the style of play, everything, and they were very encouraging, to say the least. That they knew that I can play, and once I kind of found my rhythm, they brought me in like with open arms. So I just think that was the biggest thing for me is to make this. That's when I knew from, like I said, how they brought in my family, how they brought in me, the teammates that I had at the time. Coach Yurgi, everything put together, it was a good opportunity for me just to restart my basketball career and kind of flourish in that way.
You know, being part of the team for a number of years, you probably have a pretty good perspective on the development that the guys on the squad are making it, because we see it too, that the pilots are a strong team because everyone seems to be year on year progressing.
Yeah.
So do you attribute that to an attitude or a fire that each of the guys have, or is it something that the team kind of encourages to push each other?
I think it's both. I just think every day you can see everyone putting in work, whether it's in the weight room, extra in the gym, you can see everyone putting in work. Even in the summer, I can see them posting the stuff about them in the gym. And so with that, plus how Yurgi and the rest of the team and the staff put so much energy and effort into us and making sure that we are prepared, like I said, from injuries to tweaks to mental, like just making sure that we get enough rest, things like that, trying our best when we have to travel to make sure we get the best amenities that we can. So it's just all of that put together, like it just creates a legacy and a team that's hard to beat.
I want to swing back to when you first got involved with the pilots, because that was quite a big jump. You know, you were playing stateside, you were playing out in Montreal, but never in Asia. So what were the deciding factors in signing overseas in Taiwan?
I knew Yurgi. That was a big thing, and I just think I needed something new. During the stateside, I had tore my Achilles, so I was coming back from an injury. So I was trying to figure that out, and nothing was really clicking at the time, which was a downtime for me when it came to I was playing in the G League, couldn't really find my footing. So I just felt like I needed a shift. And I said, it took a leap. I didn't know what to expect. I never really even heard, honestly haven't heard much of Taiwan outside of Dwight Howard being here, I think a year or so before. So it was more of a leap of faith and just, just trusting God that I'm making the right decision. So with the support, like I said, my wife, making sure that we was making the right decisions, talking to her, making sure that she had her support. That was basically all I needed, and then again came out to be a good opportunity because again year 3 I'm still here, and I'm loving it just as working the first day.
Yeah, still a valuable contributor to the pilots, and it's interesting because players do have to go into a transition, because at least from the outside, the perspective of import players is you got to score so many points, you also got to grab some rebounds, but I think your opponent today, Michael Singletary, played many years in the Plus League. He does have a lot of records, but he also, I think you're mirroring in that, creating a culture of we're a winning club and we're a strong team as an entirety, as a group. What do you feel like the imports are needed in part as not just guys who fill the stat sheet, but maybe you could be even more as leading the guys to become winning basketball players?
Yeah, I think definitely when you're older, and I think most imports that come, they're older in age, we played a long time, so we also have knowledge. So I feel like when you come to a situation like this, understanding the culture of the team, understanding that it's not all about you. I know you want, always want the points, you always want to be one of those guys, but at the same time, to be there for your teammates. Again, with the team we have, anyone can score. Like Jackie had 16, Justin had, I think, 24. Like I said, where the imports didn't have that well of a game. Whereas other games, we all have 20. Whereas other games, we all have 15. So it can't always be about stats. It has to be about doing the little things. I said, encouraging our teammates, and just being there for each other. Like it's still a team. So I feel like sometimes that's a mistake with imports, is that they just think about the statistics of it all. But I do think it's important because you do have to, do your job, but at the same time, you do have to be a part of the culture and the team itself.
Younger players or the new generation of overseas players starting their career up for their first years, what pointers would you give to them that you wish you knew starting up in your early days playing overseas?
I would say my first game, I would tell them it's not as easy as you may think. Yeah. When you're playing in the States, you have a ego as though we're better than everyone. So when you go overseas, wherever it may be, your mindset can throw you off in the sense of like, I can just go out here and I can just score all the points and I can just do those things. And I think the first game I played, I realized, like I said, y'all played very hard. So like I had to learn that style of play. I understand, like I said, my own team. I had to understand the league itself. So to where now I feel like I have understanding, and now I can play well on a consistent basis for the most part. Where I think some people just think that it's going to be easy, just walk in there and then just score and just be the best, and that's not always the truth.
Yeah. Are those conversations you're having with other import players, whether on your team or on other teams, about what's it like to play, kind of the perks and quirks of, being in a different overseas market where you have advantages, but you also have to fit into the team, as you mentioned?
I think I'm mostly talking to my teammates. If someone asks, yes, it's something that I will do, but most of the time it's just my teammates and, letting them know. Definitely, like with Cedric, he's a young guy. He's going to be great, a great player. He's just young. He's on a team that's kind of already established, but he's just trying to teach him, like I said, always be ready, stand professional, things of that nature. Because once it's your turn, I believe he's going to be a great player. So imports like him, and I'm also listening to some of my older teammates because they've been here. Will's been here for a long time. Alex older, so like that allows me to get some from them as well. I don't think that I know everything, so I also have to listen. So I think that's something that we share as a team.
Yeah, speaking of being a competitor, the Pilots are developing a reputation of the team that can win no matter the circumstances, no matter what form you guys are playing with. I think this weekend is a good example of that because, for example, the Braves had that reputation, and as exemplified by the finals, you guys won big, they'd win by a little, and it was every other game, very small adjustments. I think the Pilots, certainly this weekend, has demonstrated, even playing back-to-back, you guys have enough mental fortitude, have enough concentration, enough skills to pull out the victories. Is that an evolution that the team is going through, even with thanks to last year's championship?
Yeah, I think mentally, I think we're stronger. I think games, even like today, I think games like this would have thrown us off in the past. With all the calls and the things that happened in the game, I think we could have won, but I just think we would have been more thrown off. I think we all came back together, calmed down in the fourth, and did what we had to do to win, whatever that may look like. Jackie making threes, Alec getting rebounds, getting a couple assists and things like that. I just think that we just do what we need as a team depending on the situation, and that's a mental thing in itself when you have a team like we have.
Could you tell us a little bit more about Justin? Because he is certainly the face of the franchise. He's had his stumbles, most notably in the championship in the East Asia Super League in Macau. He seems to have rebounded in the Plus League finals. And this season, I think, for the most part, it's going swimmingly, won the month MVP. What do you see from his growth, and what can other players learn from him?
He's confident but humble at the same time. I think he understands the weight that he has on his shoulders by being the face of the team. I think he's grown over the years I've been here. Like I said, he's our face, so like we make sure that he's good. I think as a team we understand what we need to do for him to make sure that he is that guy, and we're always going to have his back. Whether he has a down game or whatever, we're never going to look down on him because that's a part of the game. Definitely when you're the guy, that's what teams want to do. They want to stop you. So it's going to be games where he might not have the best, but we always want to make sure that he knows that we got his back no matter what, and we believe that he's going to be the hero. Like you said, that's the song he comes out to because we believe that to be true for him.
I have one last question for you. The Pilots have good form right now in both the East Asia Super League and the Plus League, but is being a winner the most important thing as a basketball player to be remembered by the fans? I want to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts about the prospects of raising another trophy while also considering your bigger role as well as a role model on the floor?
Yeah, I just want to win. Like I said, yeah, again, stats are something, but if I win, that's it. If we win a championship and I was able to push someone to be better, or if I'm able to make the right pass, or I'm able to do those things, winning is the most important thing at the end of the day, because that's what you're going to be remembered by. You can get all the points in the world or all the rebounds in the world, but if you're losing, it's like, what's that for? You're not helping your team win in that way. So I think I just want to do what I need to do for the team to help us win.
All right. Thank you so much, Treveon, for the interview. It was a tough weekend. Pilots able to win more ball games, and you still have a season left to prove even more out there on the floor.
We do.
All right, well, thank you for joining our interview.
Thank you for having me.
We'll look forward to seeing you out there on the floor in the future.
Thank you.